Welcome to Retiring Well, where it's our job to help you enjoy financial security in any economy. I am Michael Reese, national show host.
And in Birmingham, Alabama, this is Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor and your local retirement planning specialist, Tad Hill.
And this week, we are talking about Social Security. We get the question all the time, how should I take my Social Security? What's the best path for me? Well, guess what, folks? Today, we're going to help you answer that question. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show.
Retiring Well with Michael Reese, providing financial security in any economy. Today is the day you can take control of your financial future and eliminate worrying about your money forever. Retiring Well with Michael Reese, featuring Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Tad Hill, founder of Freedom Financial Group in Birmingham.
What is the best way for you to take your Social Security income? This is a really important question to ask, and it's one that we get all the time. As retirement planning specialists, we are often asked by the folks just like you. They come into the office and they're asking the question, hey, it's time for me to start making decisions about Social Security. How should I best make those decisions for me, for my personal circumstances? That is a common question. And I'm sure if you are maybe between the age of 60 and 65, you're probably struggling with that issue yourself. Now, it is an important question to ask. In fact, it's a very important decision to make. Social Security represents an asset to you, a retirement asset. And how you manage that asset can, if you manage it incorrectly, for example, it can cost you literally hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Manage it well and it becomes a terrific asset. Manage it poorly and it can really cost you. So this is a big deal. And especially if you're married. So folks, if you are married, you may not realize this, but there are maybe 40 different ways that you can take Social Security. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what? I thought it was simple. It's like take it at my full retirement age or maybe take it a little earlier, a little later. And that's it, right? No. If you're married, there are a number of different ways that you and your spouse can take your benefits. For example, you could both take at age 62. That's called taking it early. You could both wait to age 70. That's taking it late. You could both take at your normal retirement age. That's typically age 66 for folks today. So I've just labeled 3 different ways right there. Well, the husband could make one decision independent of the wife. The husband may say, I'm going to take mine at 62, but the wife waits till age 70. Well, there's number 4, and there's all these different permutations. But on top of that, we have just scratched the surface. It can get even more complicated because one spouse can take their benefit based on the record of the other spouse. Now, we often see this where a husband perhaps has worked his whole life while the wife maybe has stayed at home with the children. Now, in situations like that, you have the husband who has a record that has a pretty high number on it maybe, but the wife's not so much. If the wife were to take Social Security on her Social Security record, then she might not get very much. She would get more if she took maybe half of her husband's. So maybe what you have is the husband starts taking Social Security at some point. The wife, when she hits full retirement age, takes hers based on her husband's record. Then maybe later on when she's 70, she says, all right, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm changing my mind. Now I want to take it on my record. This is where it can get complicated. And we haven't even started talking about this thing called file and suspend. So lots of choices, lots of options. So which way is the best way? Generally speaking, of all the different ways to take Social Security, the best way, if you can, is to wait until age 70 to start taking because you get so much more that if you live to a normal life expectancy, you can collect far more in Social Security. With that being said, for a lot of you, that does not make any sense at all. Another path is better. And it can be really confusing. Now, later in the show, I'm going to share with you a system that we use to help identify exactly the right way to take your Social Security. But for now, what I want to do is I want to send it to the local retirement planning specialists out there so we can get their 2 cents on the matter.
And now, featuring Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Tad Hill.
Well, Mike, this is a question that's on everybody's mind if you're retired or getting near retirement. And one of the things that I want to point out is that retirement planning is first and foremost about income planning. We have to understand that it's not nearly so much about how much money you have as it is about your income surplus or deficit. So one of the things that we do is we sit down and we analyze how much are we going to have from fixed sources like Social Security or a pension, things that we know we can count on, and how much is it going to cost us to support our lifestyle? Now, this is a biggie because very often when I sit down with people and I say, what's it going to cost you to support your lifestyle? The answer that I get is a number that they have come up with because they've tracked all of their bills. But often what they are leaving out is a lot of other expenditures like birthdays, Christmas, cash that they're taking out, trips that they plan to take. So what we need to do is really get clear on exactly what is it going to cost you to live in retirement. Now you may be asking, what does that have to do with Social Security? Well, it has everything to do with Social Security because these things will dictate which strategy is best for you. Now, Mike, in a few minutes, you're going to talk about a very sophisticated software program that we use called Social Security Analyzer. And what this does is it goes through for your circumstances and tells you what are all of the different permutations of how you could take Social Security and what is the best way to go about doing it. Now, there are a lot of articles that get written on this topic. I've seen a lot in the local Birmingham News on this, but they're missing some key ingredients. One is really understanding what all your options are. But the other is, how does it relate to your circumstances? Because, like you said, Mike, one of the best things to understand is it better to take it early? Is it better to take it late? Is it better to take it on your record or your spouse's record? And everything depends on your circumstances. So for some people, it may make all the sense in the world to wait till 70, but for others, we need to take it early. Some people have made this decision without really understanding the ramifications on your circumstances. So it's about income planning, and it's about making sure that we've thought through all of the different things that could affect you and your retirement. So if you're getting near to retirement or you're already retired and you haven't yet made your election, or you're not aware of the fact that you can do a thing called file and suspend, give us a call and we will run this Social Security analysis report for you for $495. Now, normally we charge $750 to do that. But for the folks watching today, if you've got at least $250,000 saved for retirement, we do require that you have that minimum, and you're curious, what is the best strategy for me? How's it going to impact my income plan? Maybe you want to know whether you should take your pension in a lump sum or as an annuity. That's a part of our analysis as well. Give the number on the screen a call and we will run this analysis for you for $495. Now, normally this is a charge of $750, and in a lot of cases it could save you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars by knowing the right strategy to take with your Social Security. So give us a call. We'll be glad to help you out.
Folks, you just heard Tad offer to provide a Social Security analysis for you at a discounted rate of only $495. That's $495, provided you call the number on the screen in the next 15 minutes. I got to tell you something. You are very fortunate in Birmingham to have Tad. He's one of the top retirement planning specialists in the country. I highly recommend you call the number now. It could make a huge difference. Now, don't go away, because coming up, we have our question of the week.
Let's talk about a customized retirement plan. Retiring today is not what it used to be. What works for your neighbor may not be best for you. Yet everywhere you turn, it seems like financial firms are giving cookie-cutter advice.
Your circumstances are different than anyone else's. As a chartered retirement planning counselor, my Retirement Roadmap Review is designed to uncover the must-know facts for your situation before we start implementing solutions.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Hi, Michael Reese here, and you know what I found is in that critical period, the 5 years before retirement, all the way to the 5 years after retirement, in that 10-year period, I find that over and over again, Americans are making mistakes with their financial planning that, quite frankly, are easily avoided. And it really almost breaks my heart, because if you make little mistakes in this period of time, you can have huge consequences. So in order to help you not make those mistakes, I've put together a simple website with some free videos from me to you to help you be smart about your planning. The website is called 3mistakes.com. It's the number 3 spelled out, THREE, 3mistakes.com. Why don't you go there today?
Let's talk about retirement income. Studies show that a large number of retirees are worried about running out of money. Broken promises from banks, Wall Street, and the folks in Washington, D.C. may have you worried about your own retirement security.
Having a predictable income stream is a key ingredient to protecting your retirement. One potential way to do that is to have your income stream based on math and not markets.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Welcome back to Retiring Well. It is time for our question of the week. This week's question comes from Jerry in Des Moines, and Jerry asks, I'm retired and my employer is offering to buy out my pension plan. How do I know if I should take the buyout or not? Well, Jerry, that's a great question. And Tad, I'm sure you've dealt with folks in your area who have gotten buyout offers on their pension plan. How would you answer Jerry's question?
Well, Mike, this is a question that we get in Birmingham all the time. There are a lot of companies here that offer pensions, and they have lump sum options on the pension. But I can't tell you how often people aren't sure what the right path is. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is to take your lump sum pension and take too much risk with it. This has literally destroyed people's retirements. You take a lump sum pension, maybe you walk away with $1 million. That's not uncommon at places here locally like US Steel or AT&T. And you take it and you put it in the stock market because you've been told, oh, well, as long as we get a mixture of stocks and bonds and everything goes the way we want it to, we should be fine. And then something like 2001 and 2002 or 2008 happens and you've lost half of your pension. Now, this was something that was going to guarantee you a lifetime paycheck. And now you've taken it and you've lost half of it. That's a huge risk. But for a lot of people also, you don't want to take the pension, the annuity, and then something happened to you and your wife 6 months later and there's nothing left for your kids. So it's a really important question that you understand how to analyze. It has everything to do with your circumstances. So there are a lot of people that come in and we analyze your circumstances and we find out that actually for you it's way better to just take the annuity. As enticing as it might be to take the lump sum, because now you've got this big pile of money, you have to look at how to protect your retirement. Now, for a lot of folks, we're able to take the lump sum, be very conservative with it, actually maybe take some of the money and turn it into a pension-like income that's insured and we know we can count on it, and then invest the other pieces conservatively so that you know that if the market crashes, you're not taking the kind of risk that is going to follow the market all the way to the bottom. So this is a tough question to answer for a lot of people. The other thing you've got to understand is, what are the spousal benefits? If I do take the annuity, should I do the 50%, 75%, or 100% spousal benefits? So if these are questions that are on your mind and you're wondering for yourself, what should I do with my pension? Should I take the lump sum? Should I take the annuity? How should I do it? Give us a call and I'll be happy to sit down with you and help you answer these questions. But those are the things to think through.
All right, we're talking about Social Security and the best way for you to take Social Security. Now, earlier in the show, I promised that I would share with you a tool that we use to help you identify what makes the most sense for your specific circumstances, and that's something called a Social Security Analyzer. You know, quite frankly, I don't know how you could call yourself a retirement planning specialist without utilizing this tool, because it's a very, very sophisticated tool that helps you decide for your unique circumstances the best way to take Social Security. Now, I have a little example here. We've been very creative with our example. This is a real life scenario. These are real people that we talk to in our office, but obviously we don't want to utilize their names for privacy, so I've renamed them to John and Jane Doe. So you could tell I've got creativity coming out of the wazoo here, right? Anyway, in their case, he is 60 and she is 59, and they're doing some retirement planning. They're very smart. It is very smart to plan for your retirement before you get there. So here we go. They're 60 and 59, trying to plan ahead a little bit. And when we ran this analysis, and I've got this is just one of the pages. Look at this chart here. And the guys will bring it up, make it a little bigger for you real quickly. But on this chart, it's simply a chart that looks at, in their case, 34 different ways that they could take Social Security. And what they're doing on this chart is they're simply trying to figure out, based on how long you live, which of those 34 different paths provide the most income. I know, 34, it's so many. But anyway, what this does is really simply, it says, based on how long the husband lives and based on how long the wife lives, which is the optimum outcome. Here's what I find really interesting. This tool also can give you break-even points. You know, if you take it earlier versus later, and when does that break even? That's kind of nice to know. But more importantly, the difference between, if they live to normal life expectancy, the difference between the best path and the worst path, it's a difference of over $300,000 of income over their lifetime. And that's living a normal life expectancy. So 300 grand, it's a huge difference. And you already heard on the show, the guys are offering to do an analysis for you for only $495. I mean, are you kidding me? $500 compared to hundreds of thousands of dollars? You need to call the number on the screen. Sit down with these guys, get this analysis run for yourself. It'll be one of the best decisions that you've ever made. So there it is, folks. Get it done.
Let's talk about ways to protect your principal that have the potential to earn a decent return. Many of you want your money to be protected. That makes a lot of sense in today's unsettled economy. But it's difficult these days to find a place that pays you a reasonable amount of interest. It's frustrating. That's where we come in.
Ways to protect your principal with the potential to earn a decent return are available if you know where to look. We evaluate them every day.
It's one more reason that now more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Hi Birmingham, Mike Reese here, and I have to tell you, I think you're very fortunate because one of the nation's top retirement planning experts is right there in your neck of the woods. It's my good friend Tad Hill. Tad and I, we get together with top financial advisors, gosh, 4 or 5 times a year anyway, just to brainstorm, figure out how we can better help you. Tad, why don't you take a moment and share with the folks how you and Freedom Financial helps people with their retirement planning in Birmingham.
Well, Mike, as you know, we're chartered retirement planning counselors. So what we do is we sit down with you and help you put together a plan to secure your retirement so you have peace of mind and can accomplish all the goals that you want during your retirement years. And it's about understanding what questions to ask and putting that plan together. So for the folks that call the 800 number, I'm willing to set aside some time on my calendar to sit down and do exactly that. Review your situation and help you know what needs to happen to secure your retirement.
Folks, call that number now.
Let's talk about a customized retirement plan. Retiring today is not what it used to be. What works for your neighbor may not be best for you. Yet everywhere you turn, it seems like financial firms are giving cookie-cutter advice.
Your circumstances are different than anyone else's. As a chartered retirement planning counselor, my Retirement Roadmap Review is designed to uncover the must-know facts for your situation before we start implementing solutions.
It's one more reason that now, more than ever, you need to talk to a retirement planning specialist. Why not call the number on your screen right now? We'd love to talk to you about protecting your retirement.
Birmingham, we've come to our retirement rescue of the week, and since today's topic is Social Security and pensions, and how should you take your Social Security and how should you take your pension, I thought it would be helpful and instructive if I told you the story about Bill and Mary Sue. Bill and Mary Sue are from Mountain Brook, right here locally, and Bill was 65 when they came in, and Mary Sue was 62. Now, they had not started taking their Social Security yet, and they weren't sure which path to take. The other thing was that he was about to retire from one of the local companies that offer a pension and wasn't sure how to take the pension, but had already pretty much made up his mind about the way he was going to go. Now, when we sat down and we looked at the income plan, here were the questions that needed to be thought through. And let me make sure that this point is clear. Good retirement planning is about having a process where you know what questions to ask and what questions to think through so that you are aware of all the risks that can occur in your retirement and how to avoid those risks and what the strategies are to help you avoid them. So, when we sat down and looked at their retirement income, what we found was that she was not going to get nearly as much Social Security on her record as she would have by getting half of his. But he wanted to take the 50% option on the pension because it was going to pay them a lot more income while he was living. One of the things that no one had ever done for them was to sit down and look at what happened if he lived for 10 years or so and then something happened to him, but she outlived him by another 10 or 15 years. This is called income planning, and it's about looking into the future and analyzing the things that can happen. One of the big mistakes that I see often is that folks have looked at how much income you're going to need when you retire. Well, here are our expenses, and here's how much we're making today, and when we retire, we're going to get this much in Social Security and this much in pension, and so we're going to need that much from our savings. And you look at what it's going to take to replace your income at your retirement. But nobody actually looks forward 10 or 15 years and says, well, what if the primary income earner passes away first? And fellas, who's going first? We are, right? I mean, statistics tell us we're going first, particularly if we're already older than our wives. A lot of times, we're the ones getting the pension. So when we ran the analysis, we found out that if he took 50% spousal on the pension, and we didn't do the Social Security right, she was going to lose almost 75% of their income if something happened to him. Now, had they not walked into our office, they would have never figured that out. But our process steps through these things in a very precise way. We don't leave any stone unturned. So what we found was, it was actually better for him to take the 100% spousal on the pension, for her to go ahead and take her Social Security, but as soon as he hit full retirement age, for him to file and suspend, and then wait until he's 70 to turn it back on, but when she got 66 to start taking it on his record. Now, I know this is a little complicated, but that's what our Social Security analysis does. It simplifies these things for you. If you've got these questions, you're worried about how to take Social Security, what to do with your pension, what's the best way for you to protect your retirement, give the number on the screen a call. If you've got at least $250,000 saved for retirement, I'm willing to set aside time on my calendar and sit down with you and answer these questions.
Well, there you have it, folks. $495 to get your own personal analysis of your Social Security income. You've got to call the number on the screen. I think by this point, I don't know how you're not calling the number on the screen unless you are already taking Social Security and it's kind of too late. Now, by the way, don't forget, even if you are already taking Social Security, there might be an opportunity for you here. Call the number on the screen and find out. I mean, it might not be too late. Well, I have a few words here to wrap up the show to share with you on Social Security, because one of the biggest questions that we get about Social Security is not just what is the best path to take, which is what we've been talking about. But the other big question we get is, well, what happens if Social Security goes away? Or, what is the sustainability, if you will, on Social Security? If you watch this show, you know that one of our favorite websites in the world is usdebtclock.org. Again, that's usdebtclock.org. It's a terrific website. It gives you a real-time position of all the different financials in our country, like the national debt. It shares with you how much Social Security is in the hole and Medicare and all that other stuff. Well, when it comes down to it, you've seen all the articles about how Social Security is in trouble and it's going to go broke and blah, blah, blah. But when you actually study Social Security, here's what you learn. Social Security is fully funded up to, at this point, the year 2033 or 2034, depending on the study. And at that stage, in about 20 years from now, they will only be able to pay 75% of the benefits. Now, that assumes that they make no changes between now and then. And here's the thing that you have to recognize. If you're a politician, anything you do that would negatively affect Social Security on people who are receiving Social Security is basically the kiss of death for a politician. They would be voted out of office very quickly. You have to recognize that. And you also need to recognize that a politician's number one job is to get reelected. So they are loath to mess with Social Security for people who are receiving it. Now, on the other side of the coin, you can also expect that if you're younger than, say, 50 or 55, if you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s, Social Security will probably be very different for you than it is for people who are already north of age 50, if you will, because politicians, they recognize that, hey, we can't touch the people that are getting it, but there's a lot more wiggle room for the younger generation. Even with all of that being said, you cannot plan in life for things that might or might not happen. I mean, you can insure yourself and that type of thing, but when it comes to planning for your Social Security, you really have to take what you've got. I mean, you have to work with the tools at hand. You have to work with what the system is now. So that means we know what we have now. We have great tools that tell you the best path for you to take your Social Security income. You got to make decisions somehow. Use the best knowledge you have at hand, make your decision, and then if things change in the future, maybe you can change in the future, what have you. Again, make sure that you call those numbers, get your Social Security analysis done, and I'm sure that you'll be glad you did. It's been a great show this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everybody.